we will know more in the fullness of time, but Ole Gunnar Solskjær, of course, at Manchester United, we are hearing is set to be rewarded with a new contract that could be worth something in the region of £9 million a year. So he's going to go into the last year of his current deal at the end of this season. There is only one question to be asked here, and I know you've got your own views on Ole. I'm probably going to stick to them. Has he earned it? A new contract worth, say, £9 million a year. Has he earned it?
I think that's ultimately for the Man United people to say and suggest. I mean, we do have to pinch ourselves sometimes and look at what these guys are getting paid against what they're actually doing, and the general context of how much managers are getting paid is, for me, is absurd. But it is the nature of the beast, and there's no point railing it. That's a bit King Canute, the sea goes back, but it doesn't. Look, Ole Gunnar Solskjær in the Manchester United, they have been consistent, irrespective of the carping of people like me about the fact that I think he's a tier below the elite managers of Guardiola and Klopp and whoever else I think is in that particular tier, Mourinho as well, despite some people's protestations. But it's the going price, isn't it? It is the territory that they're in. £9 million a year for a football manager to get an elite football club like Manchester United under his watch to currently win nothing is seemingly a reasonable expression of reward or recognition of the achievement. These guys have been consistent. Ed Woodward has been consistent that Ole Gunnar Solskjær is managing a project which has long-term outcomes attached to them. They've made various appointments. I thought Gary Neville was very insightful in terms of his observations about these appointments that we broke last week, with Darren Fletcher going as technical director, John Murtough going as director of football or football director, and said, I don't think either of these appointments are going to win Manchester United the Premier League. I think there are other more compelling circumstances that will determine that. I just think they're housekeeping exercises at Manchester United. But to go to my point, do I think any football manager is worth £9-10 million a year? No, I don't. But in the economics of football, which is la-la land, yes, they are. And is Ole Gunnar Solskjær entitled to be paid at a level that's commensurate with other managers? Well, you have to say probably yes. He's second in the Premier League, isn't he? But I don't judge Man United, but that's what people seem to keep missing, this stupid idea that I have an agenda. I think, and have always thought and grew up watching Man United as one of the biggest clubs in world football, and since the dawn of the Premier League, they were the poster boys for it. So when I see individuals being given an opportunity to put them at the top of the pyramid, and I don't think they're good enough to do it, I'm going to say he's going to come second to Klopp. He's going to come second to Guardiola when it comes to winning things. If he comes second in this league in this league this year, do you know what it means? He was the first loser. It doesn't mean anything unless he can build upon that and overtake them. And I don't. But
that's what he's doing.
I don't think he will. I don't.
But we've seen progression for United under Ole. Well, you cannot argue with that.
Hold on. You saw a period of regression under Mourinho after the period of progression. So Louis van Gaal, people didn't like and were fed up. He won the FA Cup. Mourinho came in and he took them to second in the league, which he now laughingly describes in one of his TV commercials as being one of his biggest achievements.
He stabilised them.
Right. Well, he took them to Europa League final and won it, Mourinho. He then comes second in the league. Then he fell out with the ball because he couldn't get what he wanted, which was Harry Maguire. Went dark, got fed up. Solskjaer's come in, was there to steady the ship, was there to bring back some morale in a place that was sounding and feeling a little bit dark. But there does come a point where you have to say, building to be competitive, surely that isn't the blueprint of Man United. And if it's okay for Man United fans, then who am I to say it's not? If they're happy with Ole Gunnar Solskjær en masse being their manager, he's going to lead them to the Golden Fleece, which is reclaiming their position at the top of the football pyramid in English football. Then chapeau. I don't think he will.
What will it? Well, but
what will it take?
On that,
win the Premier League.
What will it take for you?
Win the Premier League. That's what Man United's job is. That's what you sign up for as a Manchester United manager. That's what Tuchel comes into Chelsea, signs up. I got to win a Champions League. I got to win the Premier League, or I am going to get my coat. Right? But Ole Gunnar Solskjær has been brought in with a different narrative. He's been built in to make Manchester United competitive. What's everyone else going to do then? Sit and wait for Man United to be competitive, or are they going to keep on raising the bar? So it becomes a never-ending chase. We're competitive, but people are raising the bar. I don't think Manchester United have got materially that much better. They've got some better players.
Simon,
they've got some better players in there. Take Bruno Fernandes out of that side and tell me how good they are.
My God, Luke Shaw's unrecognisable.
Sure, but Luke Shaw's progression was...
He's just one. You rave about Mason Greenwood.
Yeah, I do.
That's
that's to do with recruitment network.
He's giving him his place. He's giving him his chance, Simon.
Sure, and I concede that point, and it's nothing to concede. They're putting the best players into the mix, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to win anything under this manager. And with due respect, Luke Shaw's progression and redemption was in part started by the hard kick up the jacksie that he thoroughly needed from Mourinho, and now he's back. And of course, Solskjær can claim that as a success. And the youth development policy has nothing to do with Ole Gunnar Solskjær. He's the beneficiary of it.
Right.
I don't have any agenda against Ole Gunnar Solskjær. I think he's a very decent manager. Ask me the question, is he a decent manager? Yes. Ask me the question, is he going to win the league for Man United? I will say no. And that's what I judge Man United by.
At no time.
I don't think so. Unless we see a rapid decline in those that are above him, I don't think he'll get there by his own natural volition.
One thing you always, apart from putting 50 grand on Selhurst Park or whatever the horse was called,
someone else did it by as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I'll have a look at that in a second.
Not 50 grand.
One thing I do bow to, and many of the people who listen and watch us on YouTube bow to as well, is your knowledge of matters financial. I mean, Simon, there is no doubt. To be fair to you. Yeah. So now I've discovered this. We've discovered this. Looking at the producer, we're talking about this morning. I want your take on this.
Yeah.
So Avram Glazer, who I've actually met, but he won't remember that, nor should he care. Avram Glazer could be set to earn 71 million quid after putting on a sale of 5 million of his shares in Manchester United on the New York Stock Exchange. A deadline is set at the close of play today. So... am I and other supporters of Manchester United, not that I'm a supporter of Manchester United, but am I and others right to question why the Glazers, Avram Glazer here, is pulling out rather than putting in ahead of what's going to be a very important summer?
Okay. Well, let's ask the question. How many Man United fans want the Glazers there in the first place?
Not many.
So how they get their money out, they're not going for nothing at some point. They're not going to go away and say, well, you don't like us, so we'll sod off. Right? They're going to want the money that they think they're entitled to, irrespective of the fact that Man United's own finances have in part financed their ownership of it. That's smart business. The Man United fans may not like this. What's interesting is two things. Does it stop them taking dividends? Because the Man United fans don't like that. They've taken dividends, so is it going to stop them from needing to pull dividends out of this business, which means more money back from Man United? And more interestingly, they've taken their shareholding down from over 75% to below 75%. And if you own 75% of a business, you have direct control, almost without reference to anybody else, to do precisely what you want. You can change every aspect of the business, every look and feel of it, every constitution behind the scenes to be able to advance the notions that you have, rather than the notions that other people want for it. So that's an interesting one. But I don't know what to make of this scenario in terms of what their motivation is. It might simply be there's an opportunity. But where these shares land...
Is it them stepping back?
What, from 78% to 74.9%? They've got a bloody long step back to go then.
Is it the start of it, though?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think so. Whatever it is, Man United themselves won't get the benefit of this money because it's share hands being transferred between owners. They're taking the benefit of the share price that Man United have on the New York Stock Exchange. So that money wouldn't land at Manchester United anyway. It would just go between shareholders. So
see, as the Glazers' business plan, you always bow to it. You always say, no, fair play.
From football yeah, well, of course, from fair play. From a football point of view, it's a masterstroke. It's genius. From the point of view, you go and buy an asset. This is what the guys who are trying to buy the Football League were trying to do when they tried to buy 20% of the Football League for 350 million quid, take the revenue streams, drop it into a shell, reverse it, and get 20 times their money. This is brilliant business thinking. But the problem is it loads... It's the same thing as what's been done at Burnley, by the way. Other people's money. Loading debt. And it's wonderful at Man United because they can afford it. Now, the Man United fans will say, well, hang on a second, we've taken $1.5 billion or whatever they say that they've taken out of the business over the last 14 years, which could have gone to the team. I'm not so sure that Man United haven't been competitive in the transfer market. I think it just rankles with Man United fans that they've got the audacity to use the club to finance the acquisition in the first place. But if the Man United fans were in that position themselves, they'd take the same opportunity. They might not take as much money out and they might not have to pay the premiums that go with servicing the debt that they've loaded on the club in the first place. It is a source, but in business terms, it's brilliant. It's how businesses are bought and taken over.
All right.
But
so in a business sense, yes. But and you know this back to front and inside out. Are they the right owners for United?
who was the right owners for Lewis Edwards was the right owner. There were people that had accused him of just being a butcher once upon a time. And Martin Edwards, did he have the best interest? Michael Knighton, he might have done when he juggled the ball in front of the Stretford end. What is the best kind of owner for a football club? The best kind of owner is someone.
Is Abramovich at Chelsea?
Yes. But that has its own legacy in people's minds because you don't build any relationship with the integral parts of the club, which is the manager builds loyalty and there's an identification, and the ridicule of it being Chelsea and a Russian project that's been funded by petro money, so it loses some of its integrity. But Man United are the greatest English football club in terms of economics. And I know that there's others breathing down their necks with Manchester City upping the ante and being able to achieve more revenue, and Liverpool certainly doing the same, and Tottenham, quite frankly, breaking the world record for having the most profitability. But the standard bearers that showed everybody how football can be monetised in English football and what the commercial deals can be done and who will pay them for endorsing their shirts or their stadium was Manchester United. So, are they the right guys? Well, their watch has been eroded by two very significant losses. One being Alex Ferguson and the other one being David Gill, sorry. When they both stepped out, you took intellectual capital out of the boardroom, you took intellectual capital out of the dugout, and you've never really replaced it.
Sure.
And Edward Wood is not the answer to it. He's an accountant. He's a Daniel Levy figure that's brilliant at numbers, but necessarily not the greatest football person.
Hence the restructuring we saw in the last week.
Possibly.